Hi, this is The Bug in Wrocław, Poland. Come to do an interview with T-Mobile Poland.pl. Good to be here. For me, it's a relative recent discovery to be playing in Eastern Europe. I only recently played in Moscow, Prague, Latvia, Croatia, Poland. I think the first show I did in Poland was maybe, like I say, about 3 years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago. And it's actually a revelation. I mean, for me, I'm passionate about music. And what's really nice about playing in the East is there still seems to be a hunger and energy for music and live music. Because in the West and in London, personally, I hate playing London. It's like nearly always the worst show. And most people I know that come from London have those same feelings because people are more arrogant. They feel they've seen it all before, or you have to prove something to them, and there's a lot of ego problems within that. But in Poland, I've loved the shows, yeah. I've only played a couple of tours in America. I haven't played there with King Midas. Was really cool. I was really lucky. The person that set up my first tour of America was an enthusiast, and I went over there with Warrior Queen twice. Once to do more like a sort of dubstep clubs, and the second time was to support 9 Inch Nails on a stadium tour. So it was like chalk and cheese, really. There were 2 totally different situations, and really interesting to compare the two because we toured the Midwest of America, which is like cowboy country, really. And I was working with a big Jamaican girl who just raps about sex and violence to an audience that are used to having bass, drums and guitar, and there's just me with decks and effects and a Jamaican MC. So I enjoyed the battle, and it was a war every night, and I enjoyed that. It was cool. Yeah, he asked me to do the tour. He was asking me to. They wanted me to do the whole tour with The Bug, but I didn't. It was impossible for me to do that. So I ended up just doing the last couple of weeks of I think maybe their last tour actually of America. He said at one point on the tour that he'd like me to work with him, but my commitments are crazy at the moment, and they have been for a few years. My main concern is The Bug and King Midas sound. Everything else is secondary. I always want to work with people, you know. It's like you're right. I've been really lucky to either meet people who I found out really liked what I did, people like Aphex Twin, Grace Jones, Tom York. It's amazing, you know. It's like your biggest dream come true when you get such respect from your peers who you respect. Sometimes I have to pinch myself and think, wow, because I know how difficult it is stuck in one room for years on end with my head between speakers, and how that will you never know how it's going to translate. All you can do is do the best job you do. And for me, there's always a list of people I want to work with. I mean, on the new King Midas Sound album, which is released in November, I managed to meet and work with Green Gartside, who was the singer in Squitty Politti, who were a very famous pop band in the late 80s in the UK. But the guy's got an incredible voice, and I just contacted him. I managed to get contact for him, played him the stuff, and he was into it, you know. You can never know. I mean, I've tried to contact other people where it didn't work out. I tried to work with Robert Wyatt, who I'm a huge fan of. That didn't work out. I tried to work with Dizzy Rascal. I couldn't connect to him. For me, I'm always looking for people to work with who I feel are hardcore pioneers. Because for me, 95% of most, if not all music, is average. It's the 5% that's done for the right reasons, by people who are trying to pioneer, by people who are trying to pull music forward into the future. For me, the future is always more important than the past in music. I've never liked the idea of retro music. For me, music, like I say, has to continue to evolve with each successive generation. And I still get excited by new music. I'm still desperate to hear new music that excites me. I mean, lately I've heard an American group called Death Grips, with this incredible group who sound like, remind me a bit of Techno Animal, but the MC is just, will burn your face off with his tone and his lyrics. And I've just collaborated with him on some new Bug tracks. So for me, I'm always on the lookout for new people to work with.
Yo. Hey.
Yeah, there'll be new bug material. I've been working very hard with Flowdown and Daddy Freddy in the studio in the last few months, and they're both appearing tonight with me. And I'm stretching the parameters of what I did with the first album. On one hand, it's even more aggressive and heavier, and on the other hand, it's more danceable, I think, than the Bug has been before. I'm under great pressure from Ninja Tune at the moment, because it's been 4 years, I think, since London Zoo. So yeah, I have to get down to finishing Bug tracks. But that's going to happen, and like I said, there's a new King Midas sound album, videos that we've just finished, and I intend to go through all that again now with the Bug, you know. It's like I have been working on the Bug stuff, but just none of it's been released. And also it's life, you know, the MCs, myself, we have personal upheavals. There's stuff you have to get through to get the work done, and that in a way is reflected in the work. I'm not a machine, I'm not a factory, I can't just throw music out. I'm not a person that can finish a track in a day. I use hardware in my studio. For me it's like a craftsman, and I just feel that the more music I've made, I've got better at my craft. But you know it'll never be perfect, you know. I think that's being human, is the faults and defects.
Ayo, ayo. Ayo, ayo. Ayo, ayo. Ayo, ayo.
For me, I'm very thorough. It took me 4.5 years to make London Zoo. It took me 3.5 years to make the King Midas sound album. I don't believe in there's so much average music, there's so many average artists. I feel that to release music, it has to stand up and stand the test of time. And I think too many people are just happy to settle for average. And for me, if I can't tell who's made that music within the first 30 seconds, it's cheap music. You know, for me, I'm always looking for something that's special. And I push myself as hard as I can, and I'll push the vocalists and singers that I work with to the point they hate me sometimes, I think, and I hate myself. I don't make music for money, I don't make music to be famous, I make music because I need to make music. You know, I feel I never had any choice. My father and grandfather were musicians. For me, music's in my blood, and it's in my soul, and it's what I need to stay sane. It's almost like a parallel universe to this fucked up world that we live in. So for me, as far as I'm concerned, music is a necessity. And for me to choose between the projects you just mentioned would be impossible, because they were all part of I see it as part of my evolution as a human, as a person. Those projects have been reflective of how I felt when I made them. My music is a very honest reflection of me. It's very selfish, you know, but I personally feel if you make music, it has to be selfish to mean anything to anyone else, because otherwise you condescend and you patronize to people.